We're super excited to be with you during this summer webinar series. If you can believe it or not, we're doing, 3, 6, 7 webinars in a 2.5 week period. So we're packing a ton in. I know a lot of you joined us yesterday for the 76 Hard webinar. Now, before you start chatting and commenting, do me a favor, in the chat in the bottom, there's a little blue button that says 2. It defaults to hosts and panelists. Go ahead and change that to everyone at the chat. So at the bottom of the chat, change that to everyone and let us know where you're joining us from today. And if you're a first timer, also add that to it. All right. So we want to see where you're coming from, what city, what state, what province. Throw that in the chat, but make sure you change it from hosts and panelists to everyone so we can all see where you're joining us from today. So those will start popping in here in the chat in just a second as you're adding them. Thank you for that. And also, I want to make sure that you have the workbook downloaded. Make sure that you have the workbook. They just dropped that in the chat as well. All right. And I'm not seeing the chat. What's going on with the chat? So do we know what's going on with the chat? Normally there's like 1 million cities and states by now. Justin, it might just be you and me today.
It might just be.
It might just be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, they'll figure out what's going on with the chat. But when they do get that figured out, let us know where you're joining us from. I see we have close to 500 people on, and I know a lot of people are going to catch the replay, and you'll be able to catch this on the podcast as well. There we go. All right. It's working. All right. Good. Thank you. At least we got Laura. Thank you, Laura, for joining us. There they all are. Okay.
Boom, there
I don't know what happened there, but welcome, everyone. There we go. Chattanooga in the house. Tennessee, all right, Virginia, Georgia, South Carolina, West Bloomfield, not too far from here. We're in Birmingham if you just want to come watch it live. Anyways, we'll go ahead and jump in. Again, make sure you're changing the setting to everyone, so that way it's not just to the hosts and panelists. We also dropped the workbook in the chat. Make sure you have that because Justin's going to be sharing with you not only some tactics to use today for your warm calls, not your cold calls, and also different methods of prospecting, but there's also going to be some scripting that takes place as well. And people ask all the time, Jeff, why do you have us print out this blank workbook? Why do I do that? Because I want you to actually write out what we talk about, because that's the fastest way to master. You write, you chant, and then you role play. And so, by the way, for those that are not familiar, my name is Jeff Glover from Detroit, Michigan. I've been listing and selling real estate now for 22 years. Of course, Glover U, if you're not familiar with us, we are the fastest growing training and coaching company on the planet, and we coach agents from all brokerages. We are broker agnostic. Most of our coaches represent different brokerages and franchises, as well as our attendees. If you get the chance to come to one of our events, you're going to meet agents from literally every single franchise, every single company, and every single independent that you could name. So hopefully we'll get the chance to see you soon. I have with me Mr. Justin Ford, the prospecting king himself. What's really cool is not only did Justin and I kind of grow up together in the business, he had a chance to be an agent on our team several years ago. He went on to lead our inside sales team after selling, just maybe 100 homes his first year through prospecting. Yep. No wonder why he runs the prospecting boot camp. And of course, today leads an awesome team of his own and is just a great overall leader for the industry, specifically in the space of lead generation. And of course, he has one of our most successful and original coaching programs, the Prospecting Bootcamp, which we'll talk about at the end. But before we jump in, I want to make sure you've got that workbook one last time. It's in the chat. Go ahead and click on that, download the PDF, print it. Why? Because I saw several of you were first timers. So I'm going to share with you the 3 most important resources that you should be taking advantage of right this moment. So right now, every day, Monday through Friday, I write a message that's specifically designed to help listing agents and buyer's agents list and sell more homes. Sometimes it's, hey, I went on an appointment last night. Here's an objection I got, and here's how I handled it. Other times, like today's message, I talked about what my initial morning routines are and things that successful people do differently, inspired by a talk just a couple weeks ago by Dr. Eric Thomas at a retreat. He talked a lot about the difference between the greats and the rest are just in their simple daily habits. And so I thought, well, you know what? I woke up this morning. Let me just share like 5 or 6 of my habits. And so I shared those on today's message. Anyways, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm going to share with you how to get your hands on the daily message for free. Take out your cell phone and open up your text message. I'll do it with you. Just as if you were texting a new friend, the phone number is 55444. I know it's only 5 digits, but somehow it works. 55444. And in the body of the message, you're just going to type the word morning, MORNING, just like that. Hit send. It's going to kick back just like I have on mine. I did it just a couple days ago. We'll enroll you in the morning message. First, what is your full name, first and last? And it's going to ask you your email. And just like that, you're signed up for free. Take advantage of that. That's a Monday through Friday message. Even my team leaders or broker owners or organizational leaders that we have on today, take the daily message and use it to inspire your agents. Use it to help them with their production. I can promise you we're always sharing real and relevant information to help agents succeed. That's resource number one that I want to share. Resource number two, if you currently get the daily message, but you do not have the new Glover U app, you are missing out on a ton of free resources. I still can't believe to this day, people are paying for resources at gloveru.com that you can get for free in the app. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, open up your app store and search Glover space the letter U, super simple, Glover space the letter U, hit search. It'll be the first one that comes up. Download that app on your phone. Why? Because almost weekly, we're updating either resources, we're adding videos, there's all sorts of content, especially right now with the NAR settlement going on. We've got new scripts and new dialogues that we're putting out all the time. Take advantage of those. Make sure you get the app on your phone. That's where you're going to get those for free. Last but not least, I wouldn't be doing my job, and I know my marketing team would be tapping me on the shoulder afterwards and say, why didn't you mention the YouTube? We are putting more energy and effort behind the Glover U YouTube channel than ever before. I mean, honestly, I think we probably post more videos per month right now than we did all of last year. That's how much effort we're putting into it. And it's all real and relevant content designed to help you list and sell more homes or recruit and train for those of you that are leading teams, leading downlines, leading networks. So if you have not subscribed to the Glover U YouTube channel, it's super simple to do. Open up your YouTube app, and if you don't have the YouTube app on your phone, just search Glover space the letter U, click on video. I'll give you a second to do that. Open up the YouTube app. You're going to search Glover space the letter U, and when you get there, there's going to be a little bell, like kind of right in the middle of the screen over to the right. That's the subscribe bell. Click subscribe. That way, you will be the first to learn of any sort of new video content that we put out. For instance, we put out all sorts of NAR objection handlers, NAR dialogues, which if you're not familiar, you can go to gloveru.com/NAR to get those. But before we did, we posted the video with me going over all of the scripts on our YouTube channel before we even put it out to the public. So we do that often. So if you want to be the first to know the latest and greatest content, make sure you're subscribing to that YouTube channel. And of course, we're super excited to be with you today on another free webinar. Hopefully by now, if this is not your first time, you realize that we give probably more away than we ever charge for. And today's is a really special session because none of what we talk about in the other sessions, you know, the listing presentation, which is Friday, you're going to want to be on for that, the things that we're changing in the new listing appointment, the buyer presentation, the marketing stuff, the social media stuff, none of that matters until you create a client. And so today's session is all about finding business and what I would almost call, Justin, modern prospecting, like modern day prospecting. People think of traditional prospecting as like picking up the phone and cold calling. And don't get me wrong, that's still effective. There are some cold calling methods that are effective. And we're doing a ton above and beyond cold calling. And I think it's important for our viewers to pay attention to your message today. So please join me in welcoming Justin Ford.
Thank you, sir. Excited to be here. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your day to really invest into yourself here over the next 45 to 50 minutes. And like Jeff said, when we hear the word prospecting, a lot of times we think of cold calling and really, and I want you to write this down. So if you have your workbook or you're taking notes in some other way, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to write down the word prospecting. And really, I want to explain to you first and foremost what prospecting is, because like Jeff said, before we're able to take a new listing, before we're able to work with a new buyer, believe it or not, what we all start with is prospecting, because write this down, prospecting is the first step in the sales process. Mm-hmm. So we all prospect. We might not think that it's prospecting. We might call it lead generation. We might call it, making phone calls or, networking. But at the end of the day, it's called prospecting. Prospecting is the first step in the sales process. And the purpose of prospecting is to eventually set an appointment with a buyer or a seller. That's the whole goal of prospecting. And so we really have to change our mindset around what prospecting is, because many of us automatically assume prospecting is cold calling. Cold calling is just one of the many forms of prospecting. And so we're going to talk about a ton of different ways that you can prospect outside of cold calling that will help you generate more seller opportunities. Okay, if you're here today and you want more seller opportunities and you want more listings, drop a 777 in the chat for me.
Oh, I like that. Lucky number 777.
I just want to make sure we've got the right
Right
audience here.
We're in the right.
Yeah.
You know, I thought this was a basket weaving class.
Yeah, no.
So should I exit then? I thought it was 444 for basket weaving.
No, it's definitely prospecting.
Okay, there we
so
go.
you guys are all here. You're in the right place, and so we're gonna really dive into that today. And so before I give you some incredible methods to generate new seller opportunities, I want to focus on two things that everybody here today has to absolutely make a commitment to in order to move forward and generate new opportunities. And these are, I believe, the two most important things that if we as agents work on these two things, everything else we're going to talk about today is going to be easy. Okay. So number one, the very first thing that we really need to work on and really invest into, number one, is our mindset. Prospecting and mindset go hand in hand. And the reason I say that mindset is so important is because many of us have limiting beliefs around prospecting, or what's the big one that causes us not to want to prospect, whether it's cold calls or whether it's any type of prospecting, is the fear of rejection. We all struggle with fear of rejection naturally. It's not like somebody, just wakes up one day and doesn't have some form of fear of rejection, because I think it's human nature that we don't like to be told no, and we don't like to feel rejection, or we're even afraid to even put ourselves in that place. And the good news is we can overcome the fear of rejection. And if we can overcome the fear of rejection or the limiting beliefs that we have around prospecting, then guess what? There's no reason why we can't go out and win at a high level. Being in this industry now for 20 years, even before I got into selling real estate, I was in mortgages and I generated mortgage business by picking up the phone and prospecting. And so I've been around prospecting or lead generation for 20 years. And what I find is most people struggle with fear of rejection. And so maybe you're here today and you're like, Justin, I know I need to do more prospecting. I know I need to get out in front of more people. I know I need to have more conversations, but I'm struggling with fear of rejection. I'm struggling with, putting myself in an uncomfortable position. Well, the good news is you can overcome that. And the way that we do that is by changing our mindset around the limiting beliefs that have to do with prospecting. And so mindset has to be something that we work on. What are you reading? What are you listening to? How are you investing into your mindset every day to build a abundant mindset and not a scarcity mindset? Are you identifying some of the limiting beliefs that you have when it comes to prospecting, lead generation, or having conversations? Because a lot of times we don't know what we really struggle with because they really are in our subconscious mind. So, we don't have them at the forefront a lot of times. We just get this feeling or we start to feel uncomfortable. So we know we need to do something, but for whatever reason, we talk ourselves out of it. That's mindset. Yeah. And so we need to identify those things and really put a plan of action around how do I overcome these things. And I remember day one when I joined Jeff's team. I remember after going through a week of, script practice and videos and all of that, I remember Jeff said, okay, here's your desk, here's your scripts, here's your phone, go get them, Tiger. Yep. And in about 45 minutes, I pretty much wanted to quit, because even though the method I started on was cold calling, when you start to hear screw you, F you, go to hell, you're the scum of the earth, go get a real job, you're like, why am I doing this, right? But when you change your mindset around why you're doing it and what prospecting is really all about, you show up different.
Yeah, and by the way, when you say change your mindset, it wouldn't be a bad idea, because we've heard that for years. Right. You got to have a strong mindset. Yep. It wouldn't be a bad idea to write out, when Justin asks the questions, what is your mindset? I want you to actually answer that. Yeah. All right. My mindset could be, meaning like write down. An example could be to get through all these knuckleheads to find someone who really needs me. Yeah. That's a mindset, right? That's a mindset. I have a lot of, during the Sales Rocket courses and stuff, I'll have a high S, a high amiable type come up to me. Yep. And they'll say, Jeff, I my biggest fear is rejection. I'm a high amiable.
Yep.
How can you help me overcome this fear?
Yeah.
And I say to them every time, and I know you'll appreciate this because it checks this box.
Yep.
And for those high S's, high amiables, or anyone looking to get over their fear of rejection,
Yep.
I said, well, here's what I want you to know. Every time you decide to not pick up the phone and reach out to somebody because of the fear of rejection, you're letting someone else get taken advantage of.
Yep, absolutely.
You're letting someone else get taken advantage of by a sleazy salesperson that's just in it for themselves.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that? Heck no, I'm not. Well, then that needs to be your mindset.
Yep.
I'm doing this and fighting through the rejection so that way these people don't get taken advantage of by somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And one of the things that I say as well is, how many people on this webinar right now either believe you're a great salesperson or you desire to be one. You're a great real estate agent or you desire to be one. Drop a 111 in the chat. If you believe you're a great real estate agent or you desire to be one. Okay, so what do sellers need? They need a great real estate agent. So like what Jeff said, if we change our mindset around, if I put myself in front of enough people, yes, many of them are going to say no, and that's okay. Expect the no. That's one thing I think you can do to change your mindset as well, is expect the no.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to tell you yes. And so you have to change your expectation when it comes to prospecting that, even this guy, right? One of the very best in the industry doesn't bat 1,000%, right?
Yeah.
Jeff gets told no. I get told no. It's normal. The number two thing that we absolutely must invest into if we're going to become great at prospecting and generate more seller business, number two, Jeff, is your skills. Your skills, okay? Because you could role play, you could write out your scripts, you could, work on chanting, work on what to say, but if you don't have a great mindset, you're not going to get out in front of people. Well, vice versa. You could have a great mindset, but if you don't know what to say, you don't know how to overcome objections, you're not prepared. Yeah, you could try to wing it, but your conversion ratio is going to be a lot lower than the person who puts themselves in the position and invests into their skills in order to become great at what you say and how you say it. Write this down. Okay, I'm always going to say certain things. I want you to write everything down that kind of speaks to you, but there's going to be certain things that I say that I really want you to write down, and I want you to write this down. Okay, selling is not telling, selling is asking questions. Okay, selling is not telling, selling is asking questions. And when we prospect, we're asking the prospect questions, because when we ask questions, we're able to develop an understanding of what they're looking to accomplish. And these two things, what is their motivation and what is their timeline? Those are the two things that we're always looking for when it comes to prospecting, timeline and motivation. Because a lot of real estate agents approach a prospect and tell them how great you are, assume you know what they need. But if you're not really looking to find out what they need and what they want and not meeting that need, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities. And that's why we say it's so important to invest into your skills so that you can know what to say and how to say it, especially with a lot of the changes that are taking place in our industry. And so mindset and skills, if everybody on this call can commit to those two things moving forward, then everything else that I'm going to share with you today, you're going to be able to get out and do. Okay.
We just had a great conversation with our team this morning about the skills. Now, we were referring to the skills of writing copy and video and so forth, but one of our agents, her name's Amy, made the great comment of, I just have to change my mindset around being skilled.
Yep.
She said, for years I thought being skilled meant being just a great salesperson. And she said, my mindset is if I have great sales skills, then that means I'm a good communicator, and that means I'm going to help my clients get what they want faster.
Absolutely.
Whether it's the right price on a home or making the right offer or saying yes to an appointment. And so you almost, to your point of mindset and then skills, some of you might have to change your mindset around sales skills.
Absolutely.
And the importance of great sales skills, because at the end of the day, people are going to make a decision on who they're going to hire based on how you make them feel. And how do you make someone feel a certain way based on what you say? Now, of course,
Absolutely.
I know, people are excited to get into, okay, but what about the sources and the tactics and all of this? It's coming, this is webinar 101. We got to warm you guys up to that stuff. It's coming.
Yeah, because again, even when I teach in the prospecting boot camp, if we don't cover those two things, this is just going to be a great list you may write down that you don't actually execute on.
Yeah.
So those things are important. So let's get into some of those methods.
Awesome.
So what I want to talk about today are some additional ways to prospect that don't involve cold calling. but I'm gonna fill you in on cold calling is still one of those that we're gonna throw in, but that's not the focus today.
Yeah.
And so I want to give you guys some things that you can do right away to get yourself out in front of more opportunities and more sellers, and really where to look. Because when it comes to lead generation and prospecting, you want to almost have like a wheel with a bunch of different spokes on it that lead to opportunities. You don't want to be just a one dog trick pony, real estate business. Although it might start out like that and you build a foundation around, let's say, one source, over time, you really want to add a bunch of different ways that you can generate opportunities. And so we're going to talk about all of those today. And so number one, which I want to talk about right off the bat, is technology. Technology today is huge when it comes to generating business. And there's a lot of great tools and ways that you can leverage technology to get in front of more sellers and more opportunities. And I'm going to share one of the ways that my team and I have been able to do that. And when you have a database, and I'll tell you what a database is a database is where everybody in your sphere of influence that knows you, likes you, and trusts you should be in your database. Whether you have a CRM, which we highly recommend having a CRM, or you have some type of Excel spreadsheet or Google spreadsheet where you have all of your contacts. You have every person that you know in all the categories. People, parents, at your kid's school, people at the gym, your barista, everybody should be in a database. Your past clients, your current clients. These are people that are warm leads, right? These are people that you don't have to cold call and convince to work with you. You don't have to convince them of who you are. They already know you. And so by having a database of people that your sphere of influence that are in your world, that you need to start with that. Okay. Yeah. And by starting with that, there's some great technology out there that you can leverage and use to do that. And this is not to try to sell you on what you should go out and buy or what you should use. It's just to give you some methods around how to do that. And one of the tools that Jeff and his team use, and one of the tools that my team and I use, is a tool called Fellow. Yeah. And Fellow is basically a tool that leverages your database or gets in front of your database. So for instance, I have 20,000 people in my database. Now, these aren't people who know me, like me, and trust me. Some of them probably don't even know who I am or how they even got in my database. But at some point they inquired on buying a house or selling a house or something. Well, this tool has generated just in the last month, 55 opportunities to help someone know the value
where they've responded, and then now you have a warm conversation. By the way, he's referring to Fellow. It's Fello. If you go to gloveru.com/affiliates, all of the providers and everybody that we use, they'll be listed there. So you can find their links and all that stuff there. But that is a great tool for kind of almost the term I use is regurgitating, people that have been in your database for a while and getting to the forefront. And of course, a lot of them are just looking for an idea what their home's worth, or just maybe looking for a cash offer. But there's going to be some people in there that if at the right price, they would sell today. And that creates a warm conversation.
It creates a warm conversation. And what's great is it actually tells you on a daily basis who in your database has actually listed their home with another agent, and or if they were listed, if they expired. So you're getting to see who in your world is either looking to buy soon or sell soon, or they are selling soon. So it's a pretty cool thing. So technology is something I remember, Jeff, when I started on your team, we weren't talking about technology. No. That was never a form of prospecting or lead generation.
That's right.
But now there's a lot of great tools and resources that are out there. And like Jeff said, by going to gloveru.com/affiliates, you can see the ones that we're leveraging and we're using. But technology is definitely something that everybody on this webinar should be using some aspect of. And there's a lot of great ones out there. You can Google, you can research. Yeah. But technology gives you the ability to stay in front of existing clients and also generate new opportunities. And if you have Jeff, and I know you talk about this, but if you have some type of CRM, your CRM probably has different functions and features that are coming out on a regular basis. And like Jeff, you've said, you should always be checking in with your rep to find out what new sources of tools that they're leveraging and using to get in front of your clients.
And that's a good lesson for any source of business you use, whether you're using Realtor.com leads or Zillow leads. Always schedule calls with your reps to ask them what the best of the best are doing. They'll tell you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. What's next?
Great. Another one is networking, building relationships within your community. This is a great way to build warm relationships. When you get to know people in your local community, the different businesses in your community, the things that are going on in your community, as you become known, you're going to create opportunities. For instance, my wife and I have been building a lot of relationships in our local community, and recently we received a seller referral because of the relationship that we've been developing with them. And you might think that prospecting is not building relationships, but it really is, because when people get to know you, like you, and trust you, and they know somebody that's looking to sell a home or buy a home, the goal is always to be top of mind when that is the case. And so building relationships within your community, attending local events can really help you connect with potential sellers. One of the other things that we've recently done is we've partnered with a local nonprofit. Jeff, you talk about how as real estate agents, we should either be partnered with
create one or partner with one.
And we partnered with the United Way recently. And what that's done is that has allowed us to go into our local neighborhood and begin building relationships with sellers because we're giving back. Like last year, we did a drive for raising school supplies for kids that don't have them. And so we went out and connected with 500 sellers or homeowners in our local area, and we let them know that we've partnered with the United Way. And what we were able to do is get in front of people, let them know, hey, we're in your community. We're also giving back to the community, and we're here if you need us. And we've been generating seller interest in doing that campaign. We also did a Hats for the Homeless, which was in the last year in November, where again, we went out, we had 15 people come to our office and drop off hats for the homeless, and now we're on their radar, and we've actually had people reach out and ask, hey, what's my home worth, or generating interest of selling their home.
There's that piece, and the piece that are of the people that are active in the foundation as well, because you have something in common. So it's easy to start some conversation with people that have some of the same beliefs.
Yep, absolutely. And so again, today we're talking about how to get in front of other opportunities outside of just picking up the phone and cold calling. Now, the other one I would say, which you talked about a little bit earlier, is door knocking. Door knocking and getting out in front of people, that might be considered, cold doors. However, if you are listing homes in a specific area, we call it just listed door knocking or circle prospecting, where you can get out in a specific neighborhood and let the sellers know around your listing that, hey, I just took a new listing, and anytime a listing goes up, usually 2 or 3 more people look to sell their home. And so who do you know that's looking to take advantage of this seller's market? Another thing that you can do is obviously when the home goes under contract. These are ways for you to get out in front of people so that people know that, hey, you know what, this guy or gal is selling homes in my neighborhood, and this is a way to get exposure so that when somebody is ready to sell, the goal is for them to think about you. And so definitely just listed and just sold door knocking is a great way to do it. The other thing, Jeff, which I know you've talked about, is hybrid farming.
Yes. Oh my gosh, we're seeing a ton of success with that.
Hybrid farming is a form of prospecting. By getting out and picking a neighborhood or picking a subdivision or a certain amount of homes, we've seen a lot of success with staying top of mind and getting something into the mail or getting in front of those same people for 12 months straight. I know this has been a big one for you guys here at Glover Agency.
Yeah. It's identifying an area that has a lot of turnover. And when we use the term a lot, we're talking about neighborhoods that have 5% or more turnover. And so that's the important part, because everybody wants to farm the luxury. Everybody wants to farm the high end.
Right.
No, you want to farm the areas that have, 5 for every 100 doors, 5 of them are selling. Which is really 10 transactions. So if you have a neighborhood of 200 doors, 5% of that is 20 sides that are available, right? So there's a huge opportunity there. We're seeing it with our agents right now, and they're just hosting events in the neighborhoods. They're active in the Facebook groups. They're notifying the neighbors every time there's been a listing or sale, even if it isn't theirs. Really, hybrid farming, the most effective way to do it is just do something once per month. Something in January, something in February, something in March, something in April, something in May, just one thing per month to the hybrid farm, so you're in front of that group. And it will, we have one agent right now who's also Coach Taylor Kerrigan. She just took our stage at the retreat last week, 2 weeks ago. 48% market share, and she's only been working her hybrid farm for maybe 18 months. 48% of the listings and sales year to date have gone through her just by following the hybrid farming method.
And what's great about it is there are many different ways to generate these seller opportunities, but it all has to do with, it all comes down to the very same thing no matter what method you use, and that's consistency.
Yeah.
You can't send a mailer one time and expect that you're going to get a ton of people responding. You can't go knock on doors one time and say, oh, well, that didn't work because nobody wanted to meet with me. You know, you can't do a networking event. You can't go knock on doors one time or any of these methods just once and expect, I'm going to build a big business.
It's advertising 101.
Yep.
Watch. Have you ever seen or heard of a car dealership that only runs one ad?
Never.
Have you ever seen a store that only has one billboard? Have you ever seen a beer company that only has one billboard, right? They need you to see it 6, 7, 8 times before it registers in the brain. I need that, or I need to go there if I need that service or that product.
Yep, absolutely. Another method of prospecting without having to cold call is social media. Social media is an incredible source to generate opportunities because we look at social media as really an extension to your database. You know, Facebook allows you to have up to 5,000 friends and then followers even beyond friends. As a matter of fact, the way that Jeff and I initially first connected was through Facebook, because I learned very early on when Facebook came out was, hey, if I can add up to 5,000 people, obviously many of them are going to be people I don't know initially. If I add people to my Facebook and I put out good content and I connect with other people's content where I'm commenting and I'm liking and I'm interacting on other people's social media posts, that eventually I'm going to be able to build a relationship with them. And if you're an agent that's on this webinar today and maybe you're saying, well, you know what? I haven't really gotten on to social media. I haven't really leveraged it. I mean, I kind of play around with it, but I'm not doing anything from a business standpoint on social media. Then I would have to say you're missing out on a lot of opportunities, because these are social media are opportunities to build a relationship with people that you really don't know. But as you put out content and you put things out, these are going to be people who begin to really follow you and get to know you. Now, you might not know them, but they're getting to know you. And that's the important thing, is when they're ready to buy or sell a home, the goal is for them to reach out to you because they see you're active in real estate. They see what you're doing to help other people. And not only that, they see that you're a real person. They see you interacting with your family. They see you going out, you know, to different events and doing different things. And social media has become a big source of my seller business. I get people that reach out to me all the time through Facebook and say, hey, you know, haven't connected with you in a while. Maybe I went to high school with them 20 years ago, but because of Facebook, we're reconnected again. And I haven't talked to them in 20 years, but they're like, hey, we're thinking about selling, or my mom's thinking about selling, and I've been following you for years, and I'd love for you to, you know, to list our home or meet with my parent or whatever. And I know that we actually teach this in Prospecting Bootcamp, where you want to tell a story around your posts. You don't want to just say, hey, you know, I'm the greatest real estate agent out here, you should call me. No, you want to just talk about how you're serving people and how you're helping people win in this industry.
Facts tell, but stories sell. And one of the best things you can do right now, which is, I know a lot of this you go deeper on in your Prospecting Bootcamp program. Every single time you take a listing, you are asking the seller for their Instagram handle. You are following them. You are asking them, hey, take out your phone. Let me make sure I'm following the right person. Is that you? Yeah, that's me. Okay, I'm going to follow. Now go ahead. You can follow me back. Yeah, follow me back. Watch. On Instagram, one of the best ways to get in front of a new audience, which will lead to seller business, is the second you get that contract signed and you post that listing, or you have a great video made on that listing, you're going to invite them as a collaborator. And now all of a sudden, when they accept that, and you're going to have this discussion with them at the kitchen table. We covered this at the retreat a few weeks back. I know you cover it in your program. When you have the conversation with them at the kitchen table, they understand the incentive to them to follow you, because it's going to get their home in front of more people. Well, what it's really going to do is it's going to get their home in front of all their friends and all their followers. And it will create a ton of engagement for them and for you, because you're both collaborators on the same post, and it gets your stuff in front of people that wouldn't have otherwise seen it.
Absolutely.
Same thing goes on the Facebook side.
Yep.
You friend them on Facebook. Is that you? Yep. I'm going to add you as a friend. Go ahead and accept. Okay, good. We're friends on Facebook. Now, when I go to promote your listing, I'm going to tag you in a post. Just make sure to accept the tag, because that's going to get it in front of more eyeballs, which is true. And guess who the more eyeballs are? Their sphere of influence, their friends and their family. Yep. Another way for you to generate listing business through prospecting, but without cold calling.
Yep, absolutely. Another great one is open houses. And Jeff, you've been talking about, especially with the changes that are coming, with NAR, open houses are going to become a big seller generator opportunity. You might ask why. Well, we know that if buyers end up having to pay their agent a commission, many of them may say, you know what, I don't want to do that. I want to go directly to the listing agent. And if they come to see you at an open house and they're interested in potentially buying that home, a lot of times they also have a home to sell. And so we believe that open houses are going to be a big form of seller opportunities moving forward. And Jeff, I know you've touched on that quite a bit.
Yeah, I believe that 1 out of every 7, okay, this is my estimate. I could be high on this, I could be low. I believe 1 out of every 7 listings with the NAR changes, if there's no other changes with the NAR settlement, now there might be some other changes, who knows, once we get into it, they might change it again. If nothing changes, I believe that 1 out of every 7 listings will be double-ended.
Yep.
Which, by the way, right now, it's like not even 1 out of every 20. It's probably like 1 out of every 25 or something. 1 out of every 7. So listing agents, you just, first of all, got a raise. Second of all, the value of the open house just went through the roof, because put yourself in the shoes of the buyer. Even although, we're not going to get into the NAR settlement, but we could talk about commissions are now concessions and whatever. And even though you got a good way to present it to make me feel like I won't have to pay you, it sounds like there's a chance that I still might have to. And if I'm thinking as a buyer that there's a chance, if there's a chance I may have to pay you, some buyers, again, I think it's going to be about 15% of buyers, which is about 1 out of every 7. Some buyers are just going to say, you know what? I'm going to go right to the listing agent. I don't want to mess around with this buyer agency commissions. And so now all of a sudden, the value of being a listing agent went up. The value of open houses just went up.
Yep, absolutely. And again, all of these things that we're talking about today are just what we call lead generation or prospecting spokes in your overall business. And each one of these can generate opportunities for you on top of what you're already doing. And I know that we have about 10 minutes left or so. I really want to talk about the opportunity to also generate referrals from real estate agents. This is a big one, Jeff. And I think that sometimes as agents, we underestimate the power of networking with other agents and going to events. We just had a great event up in Traverse City where we had 1,000 agents there. And when you're building relationships with real estate agents, the goal is to become top of mind, that when they have a referral for you or a referral in a specific area, they think of you. I'll give you an example. We were up in Traverse City a couple of weeks ago, and my wife was spending time. She went out on a boat, went fishing with a handful of agents. And the week after we got back, this specific agent who was on the boat calls up my wife and says, I have a referral for you. And it was a listing referral that I went on yesterday and took the listing. And so building relationships with agents is huge. And I think it's one of the free resources we have. If you haven't plugged into the Glover U Inner Circle yet, on Facebook, we have over 21,000 real estate agents in that Facebook group. And it's just another way to generate opportunities is by building great relationships with real estate agents. And we always recommend get to events, get in front of other agents, build relationships with them, and become that referral source in your local market.
Yeah, and one tactic to do that is when you see, for instance, in the Facebook group, someone says, hey, I need a listing agent in Cleveland, Ohio, let's just say. Instead of commenting, hey, I'm your gal, hey, I'm your guy, you're actually just going to take their first name, their last name, and their company, because you're going to see it after you click on their page. You're going to slap that into Google, you're going to hit search, and you're going to call them and you're going to text them. And you're going to be one of the first ones on the phone with them while everyone else is messing around with commenting on the post and so forth. You're going to be on the phone with them. Hey, I'm your Cleveland guy. I'm your Cleveland gal.
And I remember, I think the first time you shared that was a couple of years ago, I think at the retreat, and I've been doing that ever since. And because of that method, I've been able to get 5 or 6 referrals just because they're like, oh, wow, you called me. Nobody else has called me, because you got 100 people commenting,
Correct.
or
How
like
do you choose?
or like you've said, somebody, you send them a direct message, but if you're not friends with them, it goes into their spam folder.
That's right.
But if you pick up the phone and you call them, you have a great opportunity to land that referral. So,
Well, and you're going to have a handful of agents that respect, your follow-up game.
Yep.
Because watch, when you're referring something out, it's not a guarantee that my client is going to go with that agent.
Right.
I need that agent to show up, present well. I need them to be on time. I need them to follow up. That's going to increase the likelihood that I'm going to receive a referral fee in exchange for that.
Yep.
And so if you're already displaying to me your ability to kind of proactively reach out, then that gives you a leg up against the competition, in my opinion.
absolutely, absolutely.
What other sources should we be working right now?
Well, I told you guys that I was going to transition at the end and actually talk about not cold prospecting, but it kind of falls in that category. But we can't sleep on expireds and FSBOs.
can't get away from it.
We can't not do a webinar on prospecting and not talk about expireds and for sale by owners.
And by the way, I will say this one thing. Even though I said, Justin, we're going to do a conversation beyond cold calling. First of all, these aren't cold calls. These are
really
warm
not.
calls.
They are, yeah,
They're
absolutely.
expecting to hear from realtors. I
Yep.
mean, a for sale by owner is literally raising their hand
Yep.
and saying, yeah, I'm maybe open to talking to an agent. An expired knows they're going to be getting calls from agents. But here's what I know about both of these two sources and why I'm glad you included it in today's talk.
Yep.
With the NAR settlement change, you're going to see more for sale by owners and more expireds than we're seeing right now on a regular basis. And
Yep.
here's why.
Yep.
Number one, you're going to see more for sale by owners because for sale by owners believe that this change has evened the playing field.
Yep.
So this gave a little bit of confidence to someone to maybe that was going to go with a realtor. Maybe they say, you know what, honey, since agents can't offer a commission in the MLS anymore, and that was always our disadvantage, why don't we just try it by owner?
Yep.
Because we can't offer a commission in the MLS either, and neither can they.
Yep.
So you're going to have a certain percentage of people that might have otherwise listed with a realtor try to go for sale by owner.
Yep.
That's going to increase for sale by owner opportunities. What about on the expired side?
Yep.
Well, Jeff, why would there be more expireds? Watch this. Today, you have a listing that's priced kind of okay. It shows kind of okay, but it's still in the MLS, and maybe you're offering a commission or you're offering even a bonus to get it sold. It's still going to get shown.
Yep.
Well, if you have a listing today that kind of shows okay, effective August 17 anyways,
Yep.
kind of shows okay, price is just okay, and oh, by the way, they're not offering any sort of concessions to the buyer to help them pay their agent, that listing is not getting shown.
No.
And so now all of a sudden you're going to see an increase in expireds in addition to the for sale by owners, which we both love.
Yep, absolutely. And if you desire to be a great salesperson or you believe you already are one, this is a great opportunity to go out and serve people and become a solution provider. That's the mindset around prospecting or getting in front of expireds and for sale by owners, is when you lead from a place of value and contribution, it's no longer scary. But Justin, I'm just better in front of people. I'm just better working my database. Well, change your mindset around this is a way to get in front of people. This is a way to get people into your database. And trust me when I say it, when it comes to expired listings, for whatever reason why the home did not sell, I want to give you three things or three keys to succeeding with expireds. Number one is the home didn't sell because of their last agent, and they need to buy into that, okay? The home didn't sell because of their last agent, and they need to buy into that.
And you need to buy into it first.
Yeah, you need to buy into it first, and you need to be the one that has the solution for them, because every expired listing has a why as to why they're selling. And for whatever reason why it didn't sell, yeah, of course they're going to be frustrated, they're going to be aggravated, they're going to be discouraged, but I'm sure they still want to sell. And so what you need to do when we talk about investing into your skills is become really good at overcoming the objections, because the good news is with expireds and FSBOs, there's only a handful of objections that you have to overcome in order to get in front of people. It's not like, this long laundry list of things that they're going to tell you. It's pretty much the exact same stuff in every call.
Yeah.
The number two thing is you have to help them understand that a different plan is what they need. When you're calling, when you're door knocking, when you're sending a text message to a expired listing, you have to help them understand that a different plan is what they need, period. Okay? And you might say, well, Justin, they tell me, hey, don't you guys all do the same thing? And you have to say, absolutely not. If we all did the same thing, we'd all get the same results. And we all don't get the same results. And so they have to know that just because their home didn't sell with their last real estate agent doesn't mean that you can't help them get it done. And I'll say this, if there's anybody on this call right now where your pipeline is dried up, You don't have any listings coming up. Matter of fact, you don't even know where your next paycheck is going to come from. And you know you only have a little bit of time left, or you just want to take more deals and get in front of more people. Jeff, and I know you'll agree with this, there's no faster way to get a now deal than expired listings.
Oh, without question. I mean, just to give you an example, we have today on our team Door Knock Day.
Yep.
Tomorrow is the Ultimate Prospecting Day, which is the biggest expired day of the month.
Yep.
I can promise you right now, members of our team are going out between Detroit and Grand Rapids, and they're knocking on an expired door that they really want to list.
Yep.
And they're going to find a listing today.
Yep.
Tomorrow, for sure. Every market is going to have 5 to 7 times more than the normal amount of expireds tomorrow, including our market right here. And they're going to go. We will absolutely have listings within 1 week from their efforts today and tomorrow.
Absolutely. I had an agent who recently joined my team who really didn't prospect expireds and FSBOs before he joined my team. He's been with me for 3 months. He took 7 listings last month just from calling expireds and for sale by
Sometimes
owners.
it's nobody ever actually told them or taught them how to do it.
And he didn't. He didn't know how to do it. And so I say all that to say this, that if we understand that everything starts with a conversation, because that's what prospecting is, expireds and for sale by owners, pretty much every day in every market, you have the opportunity to have conversations. And conversations, when you have enough of them, lead to appointments set, and appointments set lead to appointments gone on.
Yep.
And appointments gone on lead to listings signed, and listings signed lead to listings sold.
Yeah.
So don't sleep on expireds. Also for sale by owners, like Jeff said, we know that people feel confident that just putting their home on Zillow or just putting a sign in the yard that they're going to get it sold on their own. Yeah. Well, we have to believe, and I love that you teach on this, Jeff, and we teach on this in the prospecting boot camp, is there's always 2 salespeople, right? When it comes to really a for sale by owner, it's you and the for sale by owner.
Yeah.
And the person that's going to win in that conversation is the person who really believes that
The conviction
of the conversation. And so when you call for sale by owners, you have to absolutely believe that you can net them more money and that you can help them. And really only 2% of for sale by owners are going to sell. 98% will end up listing with an agent. And out of the 2%, Jeff, you know this, that actually sell, they usually only net about 88% of the asking price. And so when you know how to overcome the objection of, I'm just looking to save money, well, you have to convince them that, hey, you're not really going to save money. You're going to lose money and leave it on the table. And I love for sale by owners because these are people who have raised their hand that said, I'm looking to sell. It's our job just to get in front of them, have conversations, and stay top of mind so that when they are ready to list with an agent, they list with you.
Yeah. Now I want to answer a question in the chat, but I do want you to cover this quickly with the last 5, 7, 10 minutes we have remaining.
Yep.
We'll probably go to the top of the hour, and we save the best for last because he has in front of him here the 7 methods of working for sale by owners and expireds. But before I do, there's 2 things I saw there, and of course we can't answer everything in the chat. No, you cannot approach an active listing prior to it expiring. So no, do not do that. It has to be actually expired. I'm saying when we go today on the 31st, we're going to the ones that expired yesterday because a lot of times that's when a lot of homes come off the market.
Yep.
Also, somebody asked what resources we use for sale by owner and expired data. We use both Vulcan 7 and RedX. You don't need both, but we believe in no stone unturned, so we use both.
We do too.
Again, if you go to gloveru.com/affiliates, you'll see both of those providers. That's who we get our data from. They have dialers, they have good systems, they have follow-up stuff. Go check those out at gloveru.com/affiliates. But I want to know, and I know you got to go through them quickly, but I think if I'm on this webinar, I'm still going to get value from hearing these. And
Absolutely.
I know in your prospecting boot camp, you cover each one of these in deep detail. So that's why I want you to cover these.
Absolutely. So write these down. I'm going to give you the 7 methods of for sale by owners and expireds. Number 1 is calling, right? We just talked a little bit about that, picking up the phone and making a call. And again, you might say, I fear this. There's no way Justin I could do it. Yes, you can, right? If you're willing to invest into your mindset like we talked about when we started and overcoming those limiting beliefs, you can overcome your fear of rejection. So making phone calls is a no-brainer. Number 2, door knocking. Like Jeff said, his team is out today door knocking on.
And we call it direct. We call it warm knocking, direct knocking.
Yeah,
You're not
absolutely.
just knock
Right.
down the street. It's targeted. You're going to people who at one point in time have raised their hand, and we call them direct to the door.
Yep, these are definitely people who are looking to sell. So door knocking is a huge one. Number 3, direct mailing. Jeff, I remember when I was on your team every day, I remember walking in the office and the front desk had thousands of letters going out to expired listings.
They still do every day.
Every day.
Yep.
Why? Because you never know that mailer opens it. Oh, you called. Oh, they're door knocking. It all ties together. So mailers is a big one. Next one, texting.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the dialers come with the opportunity to send a text through or you get their cell phone to shoot a text. And one of the things, Jeff, that you've always taught is don't just send a generic text. Take out your phone, record a quick video. Hey, it's Justin. I see your home at 123 Main Street came off the market. Was just reaching out to see if you're still entertaining offers.
They're getting hit up by everybody. So if you've got a video message, it puts a face to the name. It will get more responses than just a generic text message.
Number 5 is emails. A lot of times these dialers come with the right email. Send them an email. Let them know. Same thing. Send them a video email. Number 6, find them on social media. Right. You know, obviously, don't do it from a stalker standpoint where you're like making it look creepy, but
message them.
Just shoot them a message.
It's going to go into their filtered messages. But listen, if your message has a couple good scripts, such as, hey, I'm wondering if you're still accepting offers, they're going to open that in their filtered messages.
100%. So definitely leverage social media. And then number 7 is geofencing. Geofencing is a great method as well. Jeff, if you just want to kind of share what geofencing is.
Yeah, so it's kind of like when you walk into a store today, like let's say you go to Nordstrom to look at I don't know, new shoes, a new pair of shoes. When you walk out of that store, within 5-10 minutes, you're all of a sudden being served ads to Nordstrom. And you know, they either want you to come back to the store or they want you to complete your purchase online through social media. And so geofencing works the same way. You can actually target for sale by owner and expired listings through using the geofencing method. And you can use Google for that. You can use Facebook for that. You can use Instagram for that, which is a good segue because I know all of what we've covered today, plus those 7 methods. I mean, you probably have, out of your 16 sessions, you probably have 1 week of material for each of those because we could come up with different, you know, texting scripts to share and so forth. So if you want to actually master this piece of the business, which quite honestly, nothing happens until you create a contact. Nothing happens until you create a conversation. And even if you've been in prospecting boot camp before, because we have a lot of people on that have been in prospecting boot camp, it's been rewritten and it's constantly rewritten because things are always changing. So if I'm on this session and I want to know how I can spend 16 weeks with you, how do I do that?
Yeah, guys, we're super excited about this because the prospecting boot camp is, like Jeff said, it's the first step in the sales process. And so by mastering prospecting, you're mastering really how to get out in front of people, and you'll never have a inventory problem when you learn how to effectively communicate with people and the different methods to get in front of people. So it's a 16-week course. Jeff, I know we just changed the date, which I think it was the 12th, right? Is it August 12th?
We now start on
the Monday the 12th.
It should be up on the screen. There it is. Yes.
Okay, great. And so it's from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Zoom for 16 weeks with yours truly.
The 12th.
And here's the good news, guys. These 16 weeks, I'm going to give you everything that you need to become a great prospector and lead generation agent. It's not just cold calling. That's like 2 of the 16 classes that we're going to cover. We're going to deep dive into every method, every strategy, every way for you to generate new opportunities. And guess what? It's seller focused. We're not talking about how to go out and generate more buyers. If you want to be on the seller side, if you want to take more listings, this class is going to teach you how to do it. Jeff and his team, you know, they sell on average 1,000+ homes a year. These are the same methods. This is the same methods, Jeff, you taught me, you know, 10 years ago on how to sell 100 homes my first year in the business. It's the same methods my team and I use every day to generate new listing opportunities. We're going to talk about how to generate business. We're going to talk about how to build that bulletproof mindset. We're going to talk about how to leverage social media, how to leverage your database. We're going to talk about the 4 different personality styles that by just learning the different personality styles, your conversion ratio is going to go up. How about this? How about the 25 different sources of business that Jeff and his team use to sell 1,000 homes a year? He's literally, we're peeling out a page of his playbook that he teaches his team every day on how to sell homes. Guess what? You're going to get that here in the prospecting boot camp, to me, this course is a no-brainer.
We're sitting. So this studio is in our Birmingham location. It's in the back of our Birmingham team office.
Yep.
And you walk by, and you probably saw our listing and sales board.
Full board.
And it's very rare that you will see our listing board not filled all the way to the bottom. And
Right.
this is just one office with like 9 or 10 agents.
Right, exactly.
We take anywhere from 75 listings on a bad month to over 100 on a good month. And what is taught in prospecting boot camp is the exact same thing
Yep.
that if you were to join us tomorrow,
Yep.
what we would walk you through. Everything from not just the scripts and dialogues, but as you mentioned, the sources,
Yep.
how to get deeper in those sources, how to go deep on those 7 methods of prospecting
Yep.
from start to finish. And honestly, it's $399 a month.
$399 a month
4
for
months.
4 months. So the total cost is $1,600. And let me ask you this question. How many listings would you need to take and sell to recoup $1,600? Maybe like a
half of one.
half of one or a,
A shed,
third of one.
a backyard shed maybe.
And so here's what I'll say, and this is a guarantee and a promise that I'll make to you. I've had the privilege to teach over 1,000 real estate agents through this program.
Yeah, it's been our most popular program.
Over the last 5 years. And what I will say is this: if you invest into yourself and into this program and you follow what I teach you, you're going to take a ton of listings. We had Andrew Pepper, a year and a half ago, who never prospected over the phone, went through the program, took 18 listings, 18 over the 16 weeks
And
that
he had never picked up the phone
Never
before.
picked up
I know
the phone
Andrew.
before.
I know he avoided cold calling and prospecting.
Eric Lewandowski up in Traverse City, never prospected. His very first listing, 1.5 million, then said another 1 million, then got a buyer from it, changed his whole business. Guys, this stuff works. It doesn't matter if you're brand new or you're a seasoned veteran. I'll give you everything that I have and give you 100%. If you show up, there's no way that you can lose if you do what we teach.
No, I believe that. And if you want more information on Justin's program, just text the word prospecting to 55444. That's just one word, the word prospecting to 55444. I saw they just threw that in the chat as well. It's for anyone who's looking to get serious about this pillar of business. You might already have a good database business going. You might already have a good online lead generation strategy. Or heck, you might be leading a team or leading a downline or leading a brokerage where you want to teach your agents how to prospect. One thing that I think is really cool about your program, Justin, is you have a lot of teams and brokerages that they just put their ISAs right through the program because it is the literal training that an inside sales associate would need to succeed as well. So
absolutely.
If you want more information, again, text the word prospecting to 55444. Other than that, it's been another great webinar with you. We will see you in just a couple days. We're back, same place, same time on Friday. We're going from, okay, we generated the lead today. On Friday, we're talking about now how do we convert that listing appointment into a contract? That's what we're covering on Friday. Justin, it's been a pleasure having you in the studio. Take his course. He won't let you down. I can promise you guys that. All right, we'll see you guys. Have a good rest of the week.